Hey, Steve. Good morning. How are you today?
I'm great, Tim. Good morning to you too.
You're on the sunny California side today. How's the weather out there?
It's actually just raining.
Is it really? We,
Strangely enough, that's why I paused because I heard this unusual sound of raindrops.
we got a little bit of snow again last night, half an inch or so, but yeah, welcome to
So-
New England. So
Yeah. So let's talk about the third and the final tranche of the webinar series that we're doing.
yeah, I know, how we got here, we know this is like one of the final sessions, at least in this three-part series, but we'll be doing some more coming up. But we started with, trying to understand risk, doing business impact analysis, and kind of walking through a little bit around business impact analysis in our first session, which kind of
Right.
segued into business continuity, right? And taking what we've learned from the BIA and kind of wrapping that into business continuity and business continuity planning and testing in our second session. And now, like, we're wrapping it all up on how to bring and create a compliance program within your MSP that your clients can consume, right, in a reasonable cost, reasonable time frame, and you as the MSP, a way for you to make a little extra money, and at the end of the day, really help educate your clients. Like, I mean, we all want to get paid, but it's really helping to educate your clients and showing them where their risks are and walking them through a compliance program to getting them in line and moving their compliance needle. So yeah, next Tuesday, what is it, the 8th, March 8th at 3 o'clock Eastern time.
Yeah, noon Pacific.
Yeah, join us for our, wrap up session on building a compliance program that lasts.
Great.
Very excited.
That sounds perfect. So my comment, I don't know how you want to clip this in, but we're here to help managed service providers. So this is kind of an educational series on how, by knowing your clients better, you can gain more revenue, you can provide better service, you can protect your clients better. You can also protect yourself better, which is now coming up as an issue. And as you said, the business impact analysis looked at business issues and how to understand those strategic business issues for your clients better. From there, the next step, we talked about risk and risk mitigation, and so how that plays in. And I think managed service providers are sometimes a little hesitant or a little fearful about adding services that aren't help desk and aren't connectivity. But these sort of professional services are billable and revenuable, and can be very lucrative. And I think this last session on compliance is going to be really good because MSPs can add compliance as a group of services. Not a lot of risk, not a lot of challenge, can do it relatively, simply, cheaply, and quickly for their clients, and add a whole lot of value. And using a word that you don't really like, differentiate themselves from all the other MSPs that are vying for their business.
Yeah, so, you make a couple of good points about differentiating yourselves, right? So we're seeing in the MSP space the term vCISO or virtual CIO or virtual ISSO, and there's all kinds of really good SaaS apps coming up in the space to help you with that vCISO. And while apps and SaaS applications and tools and checklists, those are all really great things to help you streamline your process. You hear it all the time. It comes down to people and process. And we're here as part of Compliance Risk and Synomi to help you define your people and processes so that it becomes a lucrative portion of your business, right? You'll always hear me say compliance isn't a tool, a template, or a checklist. It's about people and process. And so that's why we're here, is to help you with being the people and being the process part of that. So yeah, really looking forward to wrapping up this three-part series and looking forward to what's next in the compliance space for all of us here. So
we'll see you on Tuesday,
March 8th, 3 p.m.
Be there, be square.
3 p.m. Eastern time. I'll drop the registration link in the comments for you. We're looking forward to seeing you all and, looking for a great session. So
Yeah, having a great discussion. Thanks,
Awesome.
everybody.
Awesome.